This is my 1964 Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint GT. And it's not a good one. It has a lot wrong with it.
Now, back in 2012 when I first bought this car, I paid quite a lot of money for it. At the time, I was 19, I didn't have an eye for these cars at all, and I bought it based on photographs alone without seeing it in person. Since then, this car's actually become quite valuable, and I'd make that deal any day of the week. It actually worked out quite well. However, this car was way worse than I thought it was. But that said, there's nothing wrong with buying a project car if you are paying project car prices for it. Buying a car that needs a whole lot of work or repair or anything like that is all great, and that's part of like why we love this hobby. We love working on these cars ourselves. However, you don't want to pay like good, solid runaround money for a car that's actually like a bit of a mess. The whole reason we buy cars that are a mess is because we get them for a great deal. So after my last video about the really dodgy cars being exported from South Africa to Europe and Australia and that, a lot of you guys got in touch and said, hey, what is it you look for when you're buying a vintage car, and an Alfa 105 in particular? And I think having made a lot of mistakes about valuing cars in the past and not really knowing how to spot damage, I think I can finally answer that question.
To me, the most important thing is the body. Does it have accident damage? Does it have serious structural rust? Other things like mechanical or electrical issues can be fixed up bit by bit, but a bad body means you have to strip the car down to the last nut and bolt and start everything over from scratch. Check out the inner fenders. This is not a part that is available in reproduction. So if the car has had an accident, you'll most likely be able to see evidence of it in the engine bay. If you see any ripples or kinks in the metal here, that's probably from an accident at some point. Also, have a look at the battery tray. They usually rust out on earlier cars, so make sure it looks solid. Check the boot floor for similar damage. Like the inner fenders, this is a spot that shows up any collision damage. There are these rectangular braces behind the spring seats on the rear suspension that will usually bend if the car is hit from behind. Luckily, this car hasn't ever had any rear end damage, but aside from the rust, but it has had a small hit up front on the driver's side, and you can see this on the inner fender. Check that the style lines and panel gaps are all consistent. This is tricky if you don't know these cars that well, but lines that don't meet up and gaps that are way out are usually signs of accidents or really bad repairs. Also check that the bumpers and the trim fits well and that the doors aren't sort of sagging. Have a really good look at the main crossmember. I've seen a few cars develop stress cracks where the crossmember is welded to the chassis rails. And in fact, there was actually a factory recall for 2-bolt crossmember cars like the 64 Sprint. However, this car was never fixed, but someone did weld the crossmember in really badly. Rust on these cars is really the main issue. The first major spot where the rust gets in is the base of the A-pillar behind the front wheel. When this rusts, it eventually spreads through all the layers of the sill, takes the jacking point out with it, and even the bottom of the fenders. So if you can't see where the fender is folded over the top of the outer sill, there's probably some really badly repaired rust in that area. Another bad spot for rust is the floor around the pedals and behind the seats. This is why you want to inspect the car on the lift, and also check out the fuel tank aperture, the spare wheel well, and the radiator crossmember, especially where the anti-roll bar mounts go. That's a really weak spot. Have a close look around the windshield apertures and around the C-pillar at the back and bottom of the rear side windows. I don't think I've ever seen a car that wasn't rusty there.
Right. I think if you keep all that in mind, you should have a fighting chance of knowing what you're buying when buying a GTV, or this applies to Spiders and Giulias and Bellinas and stuff as well. They all tend to have the same weak spots. That's what I look for when I buy a car, and when I buy a project, to know just how much trouble I'm in with any of them. So anyway, I really hope this was helpful, and hopefully you guys could use this to check out your potential projects. Thanks guys, I'll catch you in the next one.